Blog Talk Radio.
Hello. Welcome to blogtalkradio.com. You are now online with Andrea.
Tonight we are featuring a New York Times best-selling book of fiction that seems so incredibly real. When you read it, you will experience the pain of a tragedy and the triumph in knowing the divinity, understanding the true meaning of freedom, forgiveness, letting go, and true love that lives eternally throughout eternity. It is my pleasure to welcome the author of The Shack, William Paul Young, who prefers to be called Paul.
I do.
Welcome to Online with Andrea.
I am very honored to be with you.
Wow, the chat room is busy. There are a lot of people that love your book. It says
that's
here,
great.
It says,
thank you to the chat room.
Yeah, they're saying things like it challenged many beliefs. Love, 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 love the book, says Sherry. Stephen Walker, and what is that? He's smiling. I mean, they're just glowing there. So you have quite a reaction.
Oh, that's great. You know, it's better than some of the other reactions I get.
Well, we won't discuss that, right?
Oh, sure, we can discuss that. I think it's all positive. You know, it's all part of the conversation, and I think that's a healthy thing.
But if you would please just tell our audience a bit about your life before The Shack.
Okay. Very odd background, actually. I'm a missionary kid. I was 10 months old when we went into my parents and I went into an area of the highlands of Netherlands, New Guinea, which is the opposite side of the New Guinea island from Papua New Guinea. And that's where I grew up. I grew up among a Stone Age tribe of spirit-worshipping cannibals and thought that everybody did because, you know, you grew up in a place called normal, right? And came back to Canada. I'm Canadian-born, and I'm still a Canadian, living in Oregon. I have 6 children. My youngest is 15. My oldest is 28. I have 3 grandbabies, all under 18 months.
Wow. Busy.
I love it. Oh, I love it. It's the best. And actually, my latest grandson was born about 4 weeks ago. It was an emergency C-section, and he came in at 4 pounds. And we have this picture where his whole hand is inside my son's wedding band, and if you can imagine that. So, but he's a delight. He's doing great.
Wonderful. It
is. Living in Oregon, up until about a year ago, it was last February that I finally didn't have to work my normal. I was working 3 jobs. The primary one being I was working in the little manufacturer's rep office in Clackamas, Oregon, and shipping out soldering tips and doing inventory management and cleaning the toilets, the janitorial stuff. It was a very small operation. And then I had 2 side jobs besides that. So I'm a really pretty ordinary guy. I'm not a real author. I'm an accidental author, but because I never intended and have never tried before this to ever even think about publishing anything. And when I wrote this, I wasn't thinking about publishing it either. It was just a gift that I was writing for my children.
Now, it turned out, you were saying that it started out initially as a gift
yes.
to your family.
Uh-huh.
So what inspired you to write this specific story? And also, someone in the chat room wants to know how long it took you to actually write it.
Okay.
And they're saying they can't even believe anyone would turn it down. It's such a beautiful book. How's that?
Well, half of the turn downs came from faith-based publishers who thought it was way too edgy, and the other half were the mainstream publishers who thought it had too much Jesus in it. And so we got caught between Jesus and edgy. And, you know, and there's a basic kind of underlying philosophy that has existed in publishing, and we were told this by some of those same publishers who came back to us after the book started to take off, and that was, if one of the publishers told us, if someone else is doing this, we can't do it. But if nobody else is doing this, we can't do this.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and that's why, there's this tendency in the creative community when it gets industrialized that you only do what you've done. And so you get, the same basic book with a different title, 1,000 of them, and that's because that's what they know how to do, and they don't want to take any risks outside of that. Music is the same thing. You have a hit song, well, we want 10 more just like it. Don't do anything creative, and so that's part of the downside of the creative industry.
Right.
The shack is a metaphor, and it my world and my life and my pain. The pain's very real in the story, and I think it has such a sense of reality and touches people so deeply that it's hard for them to distinguish that it's fiction versus fact.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I still don't believe it's fiction.
Yeah.
But
well, I had two forensic detectives contact me looking for the case files.
Right.
So,
I said this had to be based on something that really happened. I kept saying that,
Yeah.
I really have trouble believing otherwise. But I want to relay to you because they're really chattering in the chat room. Stephen says, at times I felt that he was peering into my soul.